How you going, everyone? Conifer hedges. These haven't been pruned often enough. My bad, I'm gonna call it. It's called I'm bloody exhausted. It's quite sparse, quite woody. You can see the thick woods. Have a look here. And there's a bit of a tear there. That's got to get cut out because we've just exposed the cambium layer. That's all going to die back. We don't need that dying back, so we're going to cut that off completely and remove it. But let's go for a walk and I'll show you the other ones that we have been maintaining. You know, with any sort of hedging, you've always got to cut it back to old wood. If you wanted to constantly grow larger, meaning further out, further taller, cut it back just shy of where the new growth starts. So if this is where the new growth starts and from here down is the old growth and there up is a new growth, you can cut it back down just above that. So you've got a nice soft green leaf there looking nice and lush. But keep in mind, every time you do that, it grows by that much. Maybe that much, depends how much you leave behind. So season after season, and especially with the humidity that we've had, the moisture in the air and the grounds, it's grown tremendously. I'm talking about our hedges, and this bloody dog's doing my head in, running around me. So this is the traditional hedge. See this die back here? I can't stress how important it is with conifers to have super sharp tools and sterilised. This is all dieback, okay? It happens from blunt tools, unsterilised tools, lack of airflow, and obviously bad cuts when you leave a wound there, and you need to cut all that out. So that discoloration has to be removed. This fine little browning on the tips there, that's from the burning of the blade. So because they heat up as they're cutting, the hedge trimmers, they're nice and hot, it burns the ends of them just a little bit. It sears them, and that causes that dieback like that to happen. But stuff like that you got to get rid of. Oh, it gets better. It really gets better here. Let's go along here. Now, what you'll see here is two hedges that we've been working on a more regular basis, but we've also had two that we haven't been. Well, in fact, that one there, the back of it we haven't pruned properly, and you can see the new growth has come up since then. And this hedge here, folks, we've done the sides a few times, and you can see the new growth's come out. That's probably about 3 months old, this growth here coming out of the sides here. But the top, unfortunately, the top's been a bit longer than that. It's probably hit a year. Conifers need to be pruned at least 2 to 3 times a year. You've got to take off that soft growth. And what I mean by soft growth, it's this stuff here. I'll break a bit off to show you. If I can break a bit off, I should have had a knife with me. That's soft growth. That's your typical conifer leaf. Okay, and that's the new growth that comes out of the side there. That's what you trim off continuously and bring it back to a nice, smooth sort of surface looking hedge. Now the sides have been done often enough, and we can clean them back and keep it close to the new growth. So that's the new growth. We can cut it back just to there somewhere and still leave a little bit of a soft leaf on that. We're not going to expose too much hardwood. But when you get up to the top, have a look at the mess there. That there now is over a year old, and we haven't had the opportunity to get up there. And in all seriousness, it's been busy, but the workload on that, there's a good half day on each one to prune. Maybe a day in full when you get to the sides, and that's 2 people getting onto it. So you can appreciate there is a lot of work. That's got to be chainsawed. Now see all those big, large pieces of wood inside there? All that wood in there has got to be cut down at least 4 to 6 inches below where you want the new growth to finish. So if you cut it flush to the finish line, as you can see on the sides there, we've got the green there, but when you go into the middle, the hardwood, the larger diameters of stems that we have there have been cut down lower. We do that so that if your hedge is up here, as you can see, and your wood down here in the middle, when it puts on the new growth, it's got all that space, 200 mil to grow into, so that you can cut to soft foliage. If you cut your wood right up to the edge of the boundary line where your finish line is, what's going to happen? You're going to get all this new growth coming above that, and eventually your hedge gets taller and taller and taller. It doesn't hurt to cut them back and expose the middle, as I've done here. There's no other choice. It's either I do that or cut it up a lot higher and make it twice the height. I don't want it any taller. So I've cut it right down, opened up the middle, but what you've got to pay attention to, and that's not just on a horizontal plane, it's also the vertical plane. Because when you come down to the vertical plane, if you look inside and you've done a really hard prune, sometimes you'll find a lot of dry leaf matter in there. Now here it's good. There's no sunlight, it dies off in there. That comes off easily. On the edges, it's fine as well. But if you're not careful and you don't pay enough attention, this is what you'll see happening. See this here? See that there, the layering? That's matting there. All that there, I'm just going to pull it out, take away the green one on top of the other, it starts to mat out. That's called suffocation. It's lack of airflow. Yeah, it's a dense plant, but yes, air can still get in there. But if you've got a lot of this, and as you can see up here at the top, it's full of that mulch, the dry leaf matter. It's matting down. So I use a little rake, a plastic rake or a little claw, and rattle the leaves or branches in between so I can get all the dry needles to fall down to the ground and open up the space there because it needs to breathe. Conifer cankers, a few years ago, I think it is, we had a major outbreak of that virus or disease spreading through different hedges throughout the states and country. And lots of them were just dying back. It was quite a radical season where a lot of people lost their conifers. I have a lot of areas where they're showing dieback signs of canker developing. And I've been able to work on it. I've got about 700 metres of this stuff here. And I've been able to work out that there isn't a spray for it. There's no point looking for sprays. Yes, fertilise them, use our blackroot, use our superfood, do all that stuff. But more importantly, when you prune, thin out and clear out all the dead needles. Get that out of there, shake it out, get it all to fall out. See how it starts to fall out here? You didn't think there was much in there, but look at the bottom. It's like snow. All right, that's what you want to take out of your plants. And it's not just conifers, it's every type of plant. Lack of airflow is lack of health. So if you can't breathe, hold your breath. How long can you hold it for? Some of you can hold it for 30, 1 minute, 2, but eventually you have to let go so you can breathe, otherwise you'll drop dead. Same with a plant. So how long can you go without food? You'll starve to death, right? How long can you go without water? Same with the plant. How's your gut bio, by the way? How's that working? Really well? If you're feeling that you're actually passing through really well, that's great because your gut bio is important and it's almost identical to the microbiome or soil that we have below us. So the microbiome in the soil, the microbiology that goes on there is very similar to our guts. Your body will tell you if something's wrong and your plant will tell you if something's wrong. You'll see discoloration. Go through the method of elimination, airflow, water, fertilizer, sunlight, disease, insect. All of those factors, you've got to basically go through each step and analyse what's wrong with it. These are beautiful, these are huge, these are at least 4 metres, I reckon. And once we finish with them cleaning them up, they're going to be nice and tight. We've got a nice tight cut on them. The more you cut at the beginning of each season or at the end of each season, the better the plants are going to look, and always fertilise them. And it gets nice and clean just like this. And this has been worked on a few times. We've still got a few pockets in here that got to fill in, but you can see inside a little bit of a rattle and shake, and that should help the plant get good airflow. No dieback on here, a couple of little twigs here and there, nothing to be really worried about, folks. And that's the achievement you want to get on it at the end of the harvesting and pruning. So look after your plants. Good airflow, water, fertiliser, sunlight, and they should be happy. From me, Vasily, I'd ask you. That's VasilisGarden.com. Don't forget that.